cat, right? And then the baby kittens. Tristan, what do you remember from the story?
That Jonathan went outside to help the cat bring in the last kitten.
So Jonathan had to go outside to help the cat to bring in the last kitten, right? Gavin, why did the kittens need to be inside?
So they could be safe.
So they could be safe. I like that word. Why did they need to be safe, Dominique? What was outside that was pretty scary?
The storm.
The storm. The storm was pretty scary for them. Pierce. When they went inside, how did Jonathan keep the kittens warm?
He snuggled with them.
He snuggled with them. Do you remember what he wrapped them up in?
His blanket.
Blanket? Think about that one again.
His bathrobe.
His bathrobe. He hooked them up in his bathrobe to keep them warm. All right, so we're going to play an activity with a partner. You're going to work in groups of 2. I have an example up here. All right, let's look. Your partner's name will be on the left side of the paper at the top. Your name will be on the right side of the paper at the top. You're going to come up with 10 questions. 10 questions from the story. You can look in the book and you can use your book to help you. Okay? Eyes on me, please. The answers to the questions will be right here. So, for example, number 1, Hayden and Will. They're partners. Okay? Let's say they're partners. Hayden will write question number 1 right here. He can say, how did Jonathan know there was a storm coming? Will look for the answer and he will write it right over here. Okay? Then number 2, Will write the question and Hayden will find the answer. So you'll just keep switching back and forth until you get 10 questions with 10 answers. Are there any questions about the activity? Ian?
So do you actually write it beside number 1? The question is
Yes, you do. You'll write the question beside number 1. Hayden?
We worked with the same partner when we did this.
Yes, you'll work with the same partner that you did your partner reading with.
Me and Hayden were partners.
Okay? I would like Dominique, Blake, Denia, and Pierce to come work with me at the back table, and we're going to answer some questions together. Okay? So grab your books and find a piece of paper at a table and copy it just like this. Only one piece of paper per group. If one of your partners is back here, find another buddy that doesn't have a partner and partner up with them. Blake, you're back here, please.
In the book.
All right. While I'm answer a question called fan and kick. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you land on 1, you will fan the cards for your teammates. If you land on 2, you'll pick a card and read it aloud. Number 3, you'll answer the question or solve the problem. And number 4, you'll respond. You'll say, good job, or let's try again. Okay? I'm going to set this right here in the middle.
Where we have dice.
Tonight I would like you to move this way. All the way over. Okay. We're going to roll a dice, and if we get one of these numbers and we land on them, then we're going to do what the number tells us to do, okay? If we get like a 6 or a 5, we'll roll again, okay? And remember, there's questions on the front, so let's be careful how we hold them, okay? All right, Pierce. And Blake, can you see this? Okay, cool. All right, we're going to start over here with Anaya. She rolled a 3. Answer the question or solve the problem. Okay, read it aloud. Besides Jonathan, who else helped the cat? Okay, answer your question. Do you remember who the other characters were in the story besides Jonathan? Is there a partner available, or you can go with Riola and Cammy? Okay. Who else would be a character in the story that helped Jonathan? Do you remember who he lived with? Can you help her out here? Who did he live with?
Grandma and
Grandma and Grandpa. Good. I like that you helped her out. Okay. The next person is Dominique. Can you roll the dice? She ended up with 1. So you're going to fan your cards for your teammate. Fan them for Pierce. And Pierce will draw one. Read it aloud, Pierce.
besides Jonathan, who else?
Oh, we already got that one, so we answered that one, so let's put it over here. Draw again.
Whoa. What is shelter? Shelter is like a place that you live in.
A place that you live in. Do we all need shelter?
Yes.
We do, to keep safe. Okay, so Pierce's turn to roll the dice.
So after I got a 2. I'm gonna say 1. I got 2.
A 2, so what does 2 say? Pick a card and read it aloud. So Blake, do you want to fan these, please? So Pierce can pick a card and read it aloud.
What kind of weather are they expecting? A storm.
They're experiencing a storm. So how does a storm look?
Scary.
Scary. Okay, so Blake's turn to roll. Okay, so roll again.
cat keeps going back outside.
So in the story, remember the mama cat? Why does she keep going back outside? To get her kittens. Do we agree? Thumbs up? Good job, Blake. Okay, we're back to Denaya. One. So fan the cards for your teammates. So fan them for Dominique.
What is the title of our story? Dark Night.
What is it again? One dark night, right? One dark night. All right, so your turn to roll. You would fan it for Pierce. Turn it the other way. Yep. What part?
How did the boy know a storm was coming? Because it was really dark outside and rain was falling.
He saw that with his eyes, right? All right.
Or my character was 6 and 3. Okay, 3. So the question also okay, so what do I do?
So, Blake, you have Pierce draw one from you. So Pierce will answer the question.
How many kittens did the cat bring in? 3 kittens.
Okay, Blake's turn. So you fan your cards for your teammates. So fan them for Denaya.
Who did dig up the why did dig up the kids up in the back with the kittens with
So they can keep warm. Do we agree? Let's give Red thumbs up. Good job. I like that you brainstormed. Okay. Oh, did you don't roll yet? No. Okay. Denaya's turn to roll. Fan them for Dominique.
so wonderful. The main goal is to stay blank during the storm.
What do we want to do during a storm? We want to stay. It's a 4-letter word. Starts with S. Stay safe. Thank you for helping her out. We want to stay what? Safe. We want to stay safe during a storm. Okay. Dominique's turn to roll. 3. Hi, this is for video number 2, differentiated instruction. So for question number 1, I differentiated the lesson for a distinct group of 4 students. I based how I was planning on differing the lesson by the students' prior reading scores from past stories that they read. So if I went back and saw that they were not scoring a 70% or better, then I knew that I would need to make an adjustment to how they were learning the material in order for them to comprehend the story. So I would tailor the test to meet their comprehension abilities. During language arts, during the video, we could see students are paired up in groups of 2. They have read the story twice together. Now they are coming up with a total of 10 questions about the story to ask each other and to answer in order to prepare themselves for the reading test the next day. The 4 students who are struggling, who are not meeting that 70% or better, are back with me at the back, and they are working on answering 10 questions that I have prepared for them to guide them in the right direction. During this time, the rest of the class, that is working together is being monitored by the teacher's aide. So the group that I'm working with, we are practicing a strategy called Fan and Pick, and it has 10 questions that have been written down. I found questions in the book and that would relate to the story that I wrote down, and they would have a card in the middle. They would roll a dice, and whatever number it landed on, they would do what that number told them to do. So each child would be actively participating. So like, for example, number 1, if a child rolled a number 1, then they would fan the cards. And if another child rolled a number 2, then they would pick, and then they would read the question aloud, and it would go down the line. So question number 2. During planning, I did at first have a little bit of a difficult time finding a different avenue for learning that would really benefit these students. I wanted the group of students to have the same experience as the other ones and have the same expectations of what they were learning, but I knew that they needed to learn in a different way to perform higher on the test. So I wanted an experience that would be hands-on, that would provide an oral reading of the question so that they could comprehend the questions better. So if the questions are being read to them, I feel that they would be able to perform higher. And I've seen that this is true when I sit with them during the test and I read each question to them, and it really allows them to think, then they tend to perform higher. So I handle this by seeking out my cooperating teacher's guidance, and she introduced me to a list of instructional strategies that would be effective, and one of them was the fan and pick, which I used during the video lesson. So number 3, based on this teaching experience, I have learned that I can't expect the same from all students, and I can even use the same material, but the way I'm delivering it to them needs to be different. It needs to be altered to meet their needs. For example, during the final reading test over the story, I can read the questions to the students to help strengthen their comprehension, or I can refer back to the fan and pick activity, which helps build their comprehension because they're not having to come up with the questions on their own with their partner. I'm giving them the questions, what makes it easier, definitely easier for them to study and prepare. So they will tend to perform higher. And I would like to do this with the future lessons. I would like to work with smaller groups because I think it tends to work better because I'm focusing more on their needs.